Okay.
Am I the same?
Yep. We're resuming on the 28th of March, 2025. I'll try and get the year right this time. And we are going to continue our conversation with Margaret. We finished our last chat talking about the rather historic and remarkable events in Paris in 1968 and how living at that time was quite challenging but also quite exciting. I want to ask a little bit more about that in a moment, but I just need to correct something for the record where I, in an earlier interview, said that the famous constitutional referendum was in 1968. In fact, it was in 1969. So the riots occurred in 1968, precipitated by a whole variety of sort of built-up student and grievances about the way conservative France had been suppressing them. And in 1969, after having won an election in the latter part of 1968, de Gaulle called a referendum to amend the constitution in some important ways, which was defeated, and that led to his resignation, and so Pompidou came into power in 1969. And of course, de Gaulle died in 1970, as you recall.
That's right.
It was a big deal in France when his death occurred, and leaders from all around the world came to attend the funeral at Notre Dame Cathedral.
That's right, they did. It was a big deal. Well, he was very important in France, wasn't he?
He was a big figure, yeah, of course he was. And anyone who gets the main airport named after them, as well as the main square in the middle of the city, is obviously an important figure.
Place de Gaulle, yeah.
Anyway, just quickly, just finishing off the details of 1968. That year was our first year at the Marymount School in the second half of 1968, I believe. Anyway, Annette and I were definitely settled down there. She went off to Bougival, I stayed at Neuilly. And at the beginning of 1969, Jane started school. Well, maybe it wasn't the beginning. Maybe it was because it was American terms, wasn't it?
It had to be 69 because we sort of left 70.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking the school year there was the American school year, not the Australian school year. So it would have been starting in September and ending in June, rather than our January through to December. Anyway, so that was an interesting time, and we were obviously living not only the school, but the school community, and the nuns became kind of our religious community as well, didn't they?
And so did
we started attending masses at the school,
and remember the priest playing guitar.
And they were very, what I was going to say, they were very progressive, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. It was really Vatican II.
Vatican II, yeah.
Yeah, had really hit that parish.
They'd embraced it.
Yeah, because when we came to Australia, I remember one of the priests saying it hadn't reached Australia, it got lost in the Pacific.
Yeah, well, it had very much hit in Paris at that time.
Yeah.
Well, particularly with that community of
Americans
who were very keen to get into the spirit of a much less formal, certainly no Latin or anything like that, and much more.
And it was also their congregation. The American members of that church were really quite progressive, and I remember I joined up with the women in that parish, and they invited me to join what they call the American Women's Club. And I did amazing stuff with them, including a year attending, the Louvre and places like that, doing art appreciation courses and meeting some amazing people that they would bring in as guest speakers, Olivia de Havilland. And I was trying to think the time he was Princess Margaret's partner. Anyway, there are some very interesting people, and it was an amazing club to belong to.
I'm just going to slightly reposition the camera. Not quite framed as I wanted. Just bear with me.